Today is Tuesday, June 7th, and the chickens are 16 weeks old today. I think they're a little put out with me right at the moment because I didn't bring any snacks in with me. Hi, Nugget. And let Rumple in today. Right now they're not really paying much attention to him, but last night he came in, first time in a long time, and they followed him around like the Pied Piper. It was pretty hysterical. Good morning, Nugget. We know you're here. Oh, they found a frog. That's hysterical. And they're talking about it. And none of them exactly know what to do. How funny. Oh, well, nope. She figured out what to do. Oh, and Nugget took it. Poor frog. Still no eggs yet, but hopefully soon. They're on notice. We're expecting eggs. We have two hens that have prettier combs than any of the others, and this is one of them. She is not the prettiest one, even. I'm not seeing the other one right now. Hello, honey. If you want some attention. Rumple looks like he's about done. I don't know if I caught that or not. That chicken jumped on Rumple's back. He was not impressed. She's going to try it again. Good morning, Mr. Knight. Oh, I don't know if that is the same frog or if he's found another one. If that is the same frog, good grief. Mr. Knightley was just dancing for that hen. I have never seen one of my chickens do that before. And Nugget is still walking around with that frog in his mouth. Alright, now that Mr. Knightley's given us that introduction, let's get on with the garden tour. Here is our butterfly pea flower, which oddly enough I really think is getting a second wind and must have just been planted entirely too early. The chia plant is getting nice and tall. I removed the cages from my sunflowers and just staked them for this next portion of their growing. They're getting big. The broccoli forest. I'm going to pop in a picture here of my broccoli harvest from last week. To call it a harvest is kind of funny because they were small florets, but I did learn that broccoli does not get bigger. The heads don't get bigger once they show up, so went ahead and harvested them. So you can see here where I cut the floret off, but you can see here that they do start shooting off little tiny florets on the side after you do that. So I'm just letting the broccoli finish off, putting out the little florets on the side from where I cut. Some of them didn't have anything, so I didn't cut anything. I will probably be pulling all these big ones out this week. There's another small floret because they'll be pretty well finished. And I'm going to start using the space for something else. This particular broccoli down here is an entirely different type. That's a Romanesco. I'm going to leave it in because I'm not sure if it's still going to do anything. But these big Waltham broccolis are going to probably be coming out this week. Kohlrabi is still looking really good. This cracks me up because this particular one has such lighter veins. Like most of them are bright purple veins like that, but this one's just really lighter. It's the same type though, but this one here, the biggest one, let me get the camera down in there, is starting to get bigger at the bottom. So that's the kohlrabi that I'm wanting. So hopefully at least that one will be successful. Yodfile broccoli in the back. Again, I won't pull those out until I either see some actual broccoli or they go to seed. I have harvested several lettuce. There's a bunch of blank spaces there where I've pulled out some of the little gem. You can see that they're starting to get taller, which is a sign that they're pretty much done. And if I don't get them soon, they'll shoot up a flower stalk and then they'll start to get bitter. Same here with this one, big romaine in the back. That one's starting to go up straight. So I've been pulling them out and eating them this week, and I'll be doing that a lot this week, or else the chickens will be getting a lot of food. Kale up here in front. The green kale, which is a dwarf Siberian, has had a lot of bug pressure, but the scarlet kale really has not. It doesn't seem nearly as affected. Echinacea leaves are getting really big. The personal size Atomi watermelons are putting off real leaves really nice this week. My acorn squash, gotta back up here because they have really gotten bigger this week, and Get you down in here close so you can see lots of squash blossom buds on each plant. Noodle beans starting to grow up. You'll notice a huge difference though on the other side of the trellis when we get there. Armenian white. Big alpha cucumbers getting really big. The two Chicago pickling are really just keeping pace with each other exactly. My snap peas. You can see a lot more peas this week. Finally, it feels like the peas really took an extra long time this year, which is odd because they're a cool weather vegetable and they just really took a long time. This one's ready. Probably have that as a snack before I go in. The peas on this side of the trellis, these peas are just weird. They're so floppy. I'm thinking that those are the Lincoln peas, but this one that's been growing the whole time, I believe, is the tall telephone pea. And I really only got one of those plants. It also is very slow to fruit. But you can see some there. And since I've only got one plant, I'm not sure whether or not we'll eat much of this. I will probably save this particular plant for seed, since this one definitely thrived in my garden. And so I might just try again later with this plant. Cucamelons finally got a lot of real leaves, and so hopefully they'll start shooting up this week. Here are the noodle beans on this side, and you can see how much bigger they are than the ones on the other side of the trellis. Also notice that I tied them to the trellis, and that's because they were leaning away from the trellis toward the path. So I'm hoping that as they continue to go up, that little bit of tie will help them go back toward the trellis, especially once they start shooting out the tendrils. It'll help them hold on. I still have to bring my golden midget starts over. I'm letting them get a little bigger. And my one Kajari melon. Onions are still going strong and have been trimmed again this week, so hoping to get some good onions, except for maybe down where they're growing with the turnips because they're really shaded out. My beet greens are beautiful, and here's hoping that in the next couple weeks they actually start to bulb up. My flower section is actually starting to fill in. It looks like more than just mulch now. Salvia. Milkweed still looks puny, but zinnias. Cannot wait for the zinnias to flower. Chives and bee balm. Turnips. This side here is the purple globe top. Can you see that? That's a turnip. I have at least one in all this mess of leaves. I'm pretty sure I said last week that my Sheboygan turnips have gone to seed, and I haven't really gotten any of those, but I am saving two of the plants. I've just been pulling the rest out as they shoot up a stalk. So, for example, this one, I don't need that much. I've been pulling them out and feeding these to the chickens. But I've been letting these go to flower, and I'm going to save the seeds and try again in the fall. I think the seed pods on turnips and things like it are so interesting. They flower like this, and then this is what's left on the stem. Just, you can see them all the way up. But those are full of seeds, so they'll dry out, and we'll save those for next time. I've been telling you about my bush beans every week, but I found out, surprise, surprise, that the cannellini bean was not a bush bean. It started sending off runners, so I stuck a stick in the bag, and hopefully that'll be enough to support it. The rest of these are bush beans. These two are black beans. Zucchini has taken off. Lots of new growth. It looks like we might have some blossom buds in there. the herb pool. You can see that chamomile has shot up some flower stalks. So I'm excited to have chamomile flowers soon. Sage is beautiful. The oregano has actually really filled out and started to spread a bit. Rosemary, calendula, and thyme. Look at those strawberries. We have been having daily snacks from here. And the strawberries I planted from seed, oh my goodness, I see a little tiny one down in there. But those plants are big. You can barely tell the difference between the ones I started from seed this year and the ones that came back from last year. The bush green beans are flowering. And I'll show you little baby beans started. And the bush navy beans. Garlic is probably a couple of weeks from harvesting, so we'll see how that did soon. Potato flowers. It's the purple fingerling potatoes. The other potatoes are not flowering yet. They are bigger potatoes, so that makes sense. The sweet potatoes have finally started growing and putting off more leaves. Full-size tomatoes. Oh my goodness. I feel that all I do is pick suckers off of my tomato plants. And still, I managed to miss it. So I've got 2 leaders there because I have no idea which is the original. These are my 2 climbing triple crop. Abe Lincoln. I mean, you should be able to see flowers on almost all of these. Mana tomato. Huge. This one's big. Dr. Witchy here and here. Bonnie Best is the one where somehow I managed to cut off everything except for leaves, but it has started new growth down here from the bottom. I'm just going to leave it be for a while, see what happens. I may end up pulling out that plant altogether. Paul Robeson. This Black Beauty is another case of somehow I missed the suckers along the way, and I have 2 main stems. Another Black Beauty. When I say I do nothing but pull suckers off of these plants, I mean, I can't even make myself throw them all away, and so I literally have 12 more plants in my house. No idea where I'll put them. There's a black elephant, and this one, again, 2 main stems. Don't know which is which because they're the exact same height. This black elephant has morphed into some kind of animal. I don't know. I might even have 3 lead stems going on this one. All right, my jalapeno peppers. Orange bell peppers. Having to stand back a lot farther to show you pictures this week. Going on a little blossom there. King of the North bell peppers. Brussels sprouts. These have been really bothered by cabbage worms. Brussels form on the stalks above the leaves, branches. I don't see any forming yet, so no idea. Brussels take forever. All right, my purple lady bok choy has gone to flower. I missed it. Oh, I should have pulled it yesterday. That literally happened overnight. Okra plants. I thinned this one down to 1. I've got to decide. I think I'll probably keep this one. Gotta thin these 2. They're hard to thin when they both are pretty equally vibrant. Gotta thin those 2. I think I'm gonna put in a whole new plant there. And there's just one there. And since I pulled out the tatsoi, I've actually got a lot more room in here. So I am probably going to put another okra plant like here and here where I had the tatsoi. They get really big, but I think they'll be able to be okay. Super excited to have my flowers moving along and bushing out. Marigolds are rocking. I can't wait to see some nasturtium flowers. I actually have some more starts of marigolds and nasturtiums too. Look at the size of this marigold. I'm going to put them in some other beds. Aunt Molly's ground cherries are filling out and getting nice and big. They got a lot of little bug holes in them. You can really see it on the small one. They seem to be doing okay. I'm not sure what the pest is because I haven't actually seen the bug. My celery is really taken off this week. It's not as a vibrant pink as it was when it was small, but those plants are getting really big. Cabbages, not sure what the smaller ones, if they'll get a chance to head up. But these big ones, I'm hoping will. That one's curling over the top so I can't see, but it's trying. This is a cauliflower plant, the purple of Sicily. This is also purple of Sicily. Don't really see any cauliflower yet. And then the amazing cauliflower on the back, which I'm expecting exactly nothing from. Look at this wall of tomatoes. That's happy. Amish paste there. And here, if you can see behind the carrots, this is the German lunchbox. Chadwick cherry here. Lots of little blossoms on my cherry tomatoes. Hopefully I see first fruit soon. Haven't found one yet. Black cherry, just mammoth. Another black cherry. These two are yellow pear. Blueberries, tomato, these two. Lots of flowers. Behind the massive carrots here is the Brad's Atomic Grape that I grew from a sucker. There's some flowers there. And this Brad's Atomic Grape also got away from me, and so it's got two main stems on it. My first hosta flower coming here. It's the only plant that has a flower on it yet. Been doing a lot of work outside, so things are kind of moved around, but here's my little salad bar box, and still growing good, still eating from it. Little dinosaur kale starts. Look at that green stalk. I just noticed this is a I think a beet. I'm pretty sure that was a beet that I planted over winter, and I just noticed it's got a seed head on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and let that make seeds and save those. That bean plant is looking rough, but it's growing. It's a bush bean. This one got its top eaten off, and so it won't grow any more than that, but I stuck another bean in there, so it should sprout soon. There's another beet that again was planted over winter. It has not made a seed head, and it actually has a tuber on it. So that's a cylinder beet, so it is supposed to be cylinder shaped, so I might actually get to harvest that one. Carrots from overwinter, and then still harvesting greens. Okay, here's the other side. More greens, more bush beans, some more beans down here. Those are doing really good on the bottom. This tiny Tim tomato. Got flowers, still haven't seen a fruit yet. Some of my tomato suckers that I've pulled there and there. And then just things that are waiting for places to go in the garden. This is white bush scallop summer squash. It's a burgundy okra. Here's my flowers, nasturtiums and marigolds. That's a birdhouse gourd plant. This is spearmint. It's taken off, it smells really good.
Some more okra plants. This is strawberry spinach, which I did not think was going to come alive, and it has really taken off. Those are loofah gourd plants. I'm not sure about these poppies. The flowers themselves are gray, so I don't know if the leaves are an odd color or not. That's the golden midget melon that I'm going to put out once it really takes off. And my lipstick pepper and corbachi pepper, sweet pepper plants. Those are my 2 little apple tree starts. They're doing good. This is lemon balm, and it's taken forever. My cayenne pepper in a container there, and you can still see the dill growing up behind it. Lavender. The radishes are, honestly, they're looking pretty rough. I think they're about done. Some of them are ready though. There's a purple plum radish. These are Pink Beauty, and some of them are getting ready to go to seed. I might go ahead and save them though. I really like that radish. Some of my 18-day I can pull anytime. Got some more purple lady bok choy back here started. Tried something different with my lettuce. I took some cuttings. You can see it's short. I've been just pulling leaves, but this week I decided to give it a haircut. This one I cut all the way back, and it's growing. So I think I'm going to do that for the rest of the time I have these greens out here, because it was certainly easier than pulling the big leaves, because these are planted so close together. It's really hard to just pull a few leaves. Kale. This spinach came up and went immediately to seed before even making any leaves, so that one's going to be a loss. More kale. This spinach was growing some true leaves, so that's good. And then my original spinach is probably going to go to seed soon. There's a reason they call it dillweed, because it grows like a weed. It's so pretty though. Cumin, parsley, sweet Genovese basil. I was so scared to pluck the top of my purple basil last week, but it has bushed out, so that was well worth it. Thai sweet basil, cinnamon basil, holy basil, blackberry, Swiss chard. Hoping it gets big enough for me to taste it. Swiss chard and collards. Same here. More collards, chard. Something just decimated this chard plant. Don't know why just that one. Another collard. This area of the garden does get sun, but I'm starting to have a theory that either melons just take a long time to get started, or honeydew needs a lot more sun than it's getting in this spot, because these plants are just really slow. I would love to know what made those holes in my garden. Alright, hopefully you can differentiate between the grass and the path in the background and my beans, but there's the ball-hilled beans. These are Good Mother Stallard beans, which are a really pretty purple and cream colored like dry bean. You can see how tall they're getting. We have and they are putting off some blossoms. I hope you can see them in the shade. That one's kind of in the sun. It's growing up really tall. Here's the sugar baby bush watermelon. It's trying so hard. This is part of the bane of my existence, wiregrass. Grows on a rhizome underneath the ground, so it's nearly impossible to get rid of. And that's what's all over the path up there, so I'm just constantly pulling it out of the garden. Okay, these last 4 bean plants here, they've just started reaching the trellis, are black pole beans. Sugar pie pumpkin. These are green pole beans. Blue Lake. Gourd plants. These 4 are Old Homestead green pole beans. Huge spaghetti squash plants with blossoms starting in there. Spaghetti squash. spaghetti squash. And the last two of the Blahilde pole beans. Again, those are a purple pod. I constantly pull this grass out and I have to do it again. Okay, squash and pumpkins. Butternut take a long time to grow. I don't know why they're so much smaller than the rest. Even these little Jack B. Little pumpkins seem to be growing faster than the butternut. I cannot believe it is already June. 2020 has been some kind of year, but June is a very exciting time for the garden, so bring it on. Thanks for watching.